Do you find yourself not wanting to tackle that honey-do list at home or the dreaded home and business repairs and improvements? Let Jones Empire LLC, which is a locally owned and operated business from Charleston to Huntington, West Virginia. Jones Empire LLC is licensed and insured, servicing commercial and residential properties throughout the state of West Virginia. Jones Empire LLC offers junk removal, property cleaning, interior and exterior cleaning, paver, patios, small remodels, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree cutting, tree removal, demolition, tree thinning, stump removal, landscaping, painting and staining, gutter cleaning, pressure washing, and even small remodels. Jones Empire LLC also offers dump trailer services for all your hauling needs. Jones Empire LLC offers free estimates. Schedule your service today. Call or text 304-541-8934. Again, call Jones Empire LLC 304-541-8934. They also offer 24/7 emergency services. Call them today. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb podcast with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We don't have Dave here tonight, so I'm running the board, talking, and
typical
Dave. You know, now we
Dave.
can get that monkey. The perfect time to put that monkey right in here.
It's in my Amazon cart.
Go ahead, purchase that mug now.
Oh, Lord.
Goodness.
Poor Dave. Had to work late tonight.
Yeah, we all got other obligations, so we know how it is, but we just want to give it
Absolutely.
heck. We always do, so. Dan, you should have those talking points heading your way here anytime, so I'm trying to do
all
that.
right.
But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Well, if I can find my talking points I need to go up here. Good Lord. See, when somebody's here, it just goes all to crazy, so. Anyways,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, we've got spring gobbler season is in full swing here in West Virginia. Youth season
And
was
most other places in the country too, man.
Yeah.
You got to think of that.
Yep, you're right, and most everywhere else. So, we've already getting pictures in from people here in West Virginia and in other places for birds being down. So we'll post those as we get them. We've got a ton in today. A guy that we met at the Summersville show. He requested a 4.5 reed and a 5.5 reed, or no, a 4.5 reed and a 5 reed mouth call. And I'm like, I've never made those, so I'm just going to go with what I know, you know. I have heard of people talking about it, and I've seen them, but, you know, in my opinion, the fourth reed or whatever that back reed is just a backer for, you know, for the other 3 reeds or 2 reeds in front of that, so. But he killed a bird with it today, and he was like,
awesome.
I lost my 5 reed. He was like, I need another one. So he ordered 2 more 5 reeds and 2 more 4.5 reeds. So, yeah, that was really good to hear that. So, because I told him, I said, we've never made one of these. You got to let us know if you get a bird on the ground. So,
yeah, absolutely.
the youth season started last weekend, and a lot of kids in West Virginia. A lot of youth was out in the outdoors, and I loved seeing that. You know, that's one thing we're all about, getting the kids in the outdoors, keeping the hunting heritage alive. So that was good to see that. I know there was a bunch of different groups that had gotten together. The West Virginia Turkey Hunters group there on Facebook, they got together and had a bunch of kids that went together, and they had a bunch of adults, you know, chaperoning them, so that was good. It's good to know that there's people out there doing that, because, you know, a lot of the kids don't have the dads that to take them. You know, some kids
absolutely, you're right.
just don't have that, and we want them to experience the same thing we did growing up. So we've got not only turkey season in, but trout fishing season. You know, everybody's still trout fishing, so
absolutely. Those go hand in hand, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Turkey, trout, morels, and Ramp. There you go. Yeah, thanks.
Ramps. There you go. I knew you was looking for that, Ramps.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got one of our partners, Trout Routes. We're doing a giveaway for them. So we're doing a year pro subscription giveaway, and we haven't figured out really the particulars that we're going to do for it yet. But I think since we've reached that 1,000 mark on our Facebook page, once we get up to 1,500 starting from tonight, any likes on our Facebook page starting from tonight will go into the giveaway basket, or bucket, whatever you want to call it, so we can pull it out, and we'll draw it once we get to 1,500 likes on our page. So
awesome. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, I think that's
and
pretty
it's
good
worth it. I've got the year membership, and I haven't really had the chance to use it out here in Missouri because they just don't have the trout streams we have.
Oh, I know. Isn't it crazy? Like some of the places you think would have trout streams, they don't.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Or the access for them. They probably have it, but they don't have the accesses.
Yeah.
But, be sure to check out our Facebook page on that. We'll do some more information on that. Want to talk real quick about our Highland 2025 Wyoming turkey hunt that we're hosting in Highland, Wyoming with Highland Outfitters. So it'll be me and Dan and either one or two other hunters. So if you want to go, we'll get you all the details on how to get out there, and where it is and what all's involved. And it's just going to be a great time. So we're hosting that hunt out there in 2025. It's going to be a Merriam hunt. Yeah. And
don't forget the unlimited prairie dog fun we'll have too.
Yeah. Yep. That was another thing that I was going to mention, so I'm glad you brought that up, Dan. So another reminder, Spring Hill Rod and Gun, Charleston, West Virginia, 4961 McCorkle Avenue Southwest. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, and they're closed on Sundays and Mondays. So if you haven't got stocked up on your turkey calls yet, there's still time. They still have stock. So stop by the locally owned, operated shop there and get you some handmade mouth calls from Nature's Voice Game Calls. Episode 97 is already out with Stanley Wimes, and 98 is going to drop tomorrow morning with Matt Sherman, Man versus Deer. So be sure to check that out. We talked turkey. He just got back from a turkey hunt down in Texas, and he lives in Missouri. And he basically drove all night, got down there to Texas, and went right into the hunt that next day. And
don't judge us on that episode either.
Oh, it was fast. Yeah. No, that episode, it was a good episode. It just, I don't know. There was some things that, we were trying to work out there. So the talking points were good. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
We had a great podcast on that where there's just some background noise coming in. We couldn't figure out where it was coming from. So hopefully we've got that taken care of. But be sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcast for those episodes. So tonight we're talking to Jason Webb. So without further ado, please welcome me, Jason Webb with Capital Advocates, LLC.
Hey, he's so winded tonight. I don't know what's going on with him.
I know. I texted him today. I said, we still on for tonight? He was like, yeah, but he was like, I don't think I'm going to be in the studio. He's like, I got to cut grass.
Yeah, we had
that time of the year again.
Try to get in between some of the couple of these little thunderstorms that we'll be rolling through this week. But otherwise, good evening. I just finished up a drumstick, and not the turkey kind, the ice cream kind.
Oh, I hear you having dessert before dinner.
That's the best kind.
I'm buying the little ones, right? Because if you buy the little ones, you feel like you're not eating bad. But then I end up eating 3 of them, so I might as well just buy the regular size.
Yeah, that way. Yeah, now you're like eating 1.5. That way you only eat 1.
That's right. Yeah, I rarely eat 2 large drumsticks. But,
gosh.
I can suck those little ones, those little drumsticks. I eat.
Nice.
So how's it been going, Jason?
Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
You're fine.
I'm just getting ready to say, I said that session, was relatively quiet. And so, what does that mean? It means that, here in West Virginia, at least, there weren't a lot of laws that were passed related to, an outdoorsman, hunter, fisherman. But what I thought we might do, which is a little bit sort of maybe more interesting, is what bills got introduced but didn't pass, right? Because sometimes there are good ideas and sometimes there are bad ideas that get introduced. And not only that, look at a couple things going on around the country. So no matter what state you live in, this would be important to you. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just really kind of jump in here and kick it off. We've been talking about turkey season.
Yep.
Youth season in our area. In Kentucky, it comes in the first weekend in April, and you can hunt all day as a youth in the state of Kentucky. In fact, you can hunt all day in their regular season, which came in this past weekend.
Nice.
So in Ohio, youth can hunt all day, and you're only allowed to hunt till like noon or 1 o'clock. Check your local regulations in Ohio. But then later in the season, you can hunt all day. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just you talking about that. It seems like I've noticed that here lately because looking at the regs out here in Missouri where I'm at, they have changed this year as well. On private land, you can hunt all day. Public land, they haven't changed the mandates on that. You're still 1 o'clock out of the woods. So it seems like a lot of these states are starting to go more towards the hunting all day situation there.
Well, I mean, I'm an advocate for at least youth. I mean, they want to obviously, we're starting to see turkey populations decline a little bit. There's a lot of theories on that. I watched a segment recently with some biologists out of the state of Kentucky, who are talking about, the fact that there's more. One reason is there's more participants nowadays, and but also some of it is predation, and what is predation, and it's sort of, it depends on if the hen was on the nest and got shooed away and the nest was empty, that's considered scavenger and not predation. But to me, something shoot it off, and you've actually there's videos of different critters kind of coming in and kind of shooing the hen off. And once the hen gets shooed off the nest, it goes from a predator situation to a scavenger situation. Well, something knocked that hen off the nest. She just didn't voluntarily get up and leave. And so, I don't think there's as many coon hunters out there as there used to be. We all know that.
Sure.
Most coon hunters I know.
That's a big issue. We've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks.
And coons get after it, man.
Yeah.
At night, and everybody. I love fried eggs in the morning, and they like fried eggs or raw eggs at night.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
so there's a lot more predators. There's a lot more predation. There's a lot more scavenging. They also talked about an interesting study that if a lot of the nests are in the edges of farm fields, or the fields on the edges of farms, and so when this time of the year is farmers are trying to rotate crops twice a year, get cut hay twice a year, they get out there early and they brush hog, and they have a tendency to inadvertently run over these nests, and unbeknownst to them, and so they lose them. And so they're always saying, well, if you could just delay the first cut and make sure you're cutting in the middle and not on the edges, that in and of itself could produce a lot more turkeys. But anyway, so there's different reasons. But I say all that. West Virginia youth season came and went. Jackson and I, we actually went to Kentucky and hunted public lands. We couldn't get on. We have a lease down there with some folks, and we couldn't get on the lease because of this torrential downpour we've had over the last week and a half. So we couldn't get on the property.
That's 2 years in a row.
Yep. Yeah. It is. You're exactly right. So we tried it on public land, and public land is wonderful, but there's times we just kept bumping into people. So we just try not to bother anybody else, and so we had a go of it. But we're gonna probably double down our efforts this coming weekend, and hopefully it'll be fruitful. But saying all of that, there was an interesting bill that was introduced here in West Virginia that would ban turkey hunting with rifles. Okay. Most states don't allow you to hunt turkeys with rifles. And just on some quick research, maybe Colorado, Florida, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, Oklahoma, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Now, That's through. This was updated back in 2021, so 3 years ago. So I don't know if those have changed.
I'll have to ask or read, but I don't think Missouri. I don't think you can, because I know even today, I was talking to the guy I was hunting with from Missouri, and I don't think you're allowed rifle. It's got to be shotgun in Missouri now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they must have changed it. That's why I prefaced that with this information I was able to find, but it's only
even with coyotes. We seen a coyote today while we was turkey hunting. He was way off in the field, and I'm like, man, we can run back to the truck. I still got a rifle. He's like, you can't. In Missouri, you are not allowed to kill during turkey season. You cannot kill a coyote with nothing but the shotgun that you're using for turkey season.
Oh, really?
And you can't. Yep, you can't change shells. Like, you couldn't use double aught buck. It has to be the shell that you're using to turkey hunt, it being a turkey round, turkey load.
Well, in some, like in West Virginia, you can't use, as my understanding, can't use a rifle in spring, but you can use a rifle in fall. So I don't know if there's a fall turkey season.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he said there was. Yeah.
Okay, so if there is one, then maybe that's where you're allowed to use it. Again, I don't know. I don't. That's why I preface it with the information that I have was current through 2021. I don't have, tabs for everything out there, but I'm able to sort of reach out, and get the information sent to me. But so anyway, this bill would have banned it in West Virginia. So I'm sure listeners, all have different opinions about it.
I kind of like it.
I liked it in the fall. Didn't really ever use it that I recall. I've never shot a turkey with a rifle, but in the springtime, it's starting to green up. It's a lot harder to see, and that bullet travels a lot further than what a shotgun would.
That's something that I've never done, but we'll hit on something else when we come back from a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Bolt's Lawn Care Ltd. Company. Bolt's Lawn Care is a professional lawn care and landscaping business that's been in the business for over 20 years. Bolt's Lawn Care specializes in lawn care, landscape, drain work, and so much more. Call Bolt's Lawn Care Ltd. today for any and all of your outdoor needs. Bolt's Lawn Care offers free estimates. Give them a call today, 304-543-6565. That's Bolt's Lawn Care, 304-543-6565. All right, guys, we're back.
All right, let's, before we get into, because I think I know where we're going to go with this, and it could be a pretty hot topic. So before we get into that, let's go ahead and do the salute to valor for this evening. So tonight, our salute's going to go out to Brody Hensley from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He served 4 years in the United States Marine Corps and came out of the rank of an E5. He was stationed at Camp Pendleton, California. He did no tours, but he was awarded a Good Conduct Medal, NAM, GWOT, and National Defense Ribbon. He was discharged in 2020. So we want to thank him for his service. Hey, it doesn't matter if you was deployed, not deployed, it doesn't matter. You served your country. You signed that check. It don't matter. You still did it. So salute to you, sir.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Hensley, for your service. God bless you, sir.
Yes, sir. Amen.
All right. So hunting with a rifle, turkeys. I have personally not done it, but this person has passed recently, but I hunted with him a lot, and he was a big fan of it. And his wife hunted with a rifle, so they were big advocates for it. And, he was the first one that I'd ever been with that had turkey hunted with a rifle. And we get out in the woods, and I'm like, is that a 30-06 you got there? and he said, yeah, because I didn't, honestly, at that point, I had never done it. I never knew that you could. And he was like, you can hunt turkeys with a rifle in West Virginia. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can't. But it was, it's a thing. And that was introduced to me through him. And I was like, geez, I see it as a little excessive,
Absolutely.
In the spring. Like in the fall, like Jason's talking, I can see that you're you're already out there. You've already got hunters in the woods with rifles, deer hunting, and I can see that it being a thing then. But during the spring, I think it's a little excessive.
Well, I just also, talking about using a 30-06, that seems like, what are you going to get out of that bird?
Yeah. I
mean, they're going for a headshot there.
Yeah, you have to go on a headshot.
No, I'm just teasing.
You really do.
30 or 30-06, anything like you'd have to go for that little bitty headshot.
I mean, the best part of the turkey is the breast. You don't want to blow it up.
Right. I guess that statement holds true. Aim small, miss small.
Yeah. With that, yeah. So, I don't know. All right, Jason.
The one thing I did do that I just didn't even understand or comprehend when the guy called me and said, "Hey, I want to take you to do this," was hunting turkeys with dogs.
Oh, yeah. We had discussed that briefly with another guest. I can't remember which one, but you remember that?
Well, it's an old Virginia sort of way of doing it. It's done in the fall. Yep. And you take the dog out and you run the ridges like you normally would, the flats, and listen for them. And if the dog finds them, the dog runs to them and scatters them, and they fly off in all different directions. And then the dog kind of comes back, and you kind of find a spot.
And you wait for him to come back to the roost.
And you just the dog literally got in this burlap sack and just sort of laid down and took a nap. And we just started calling. And, of course, one of the turkeys would try to gather back up, or the flock would, and sure enough, you could bust one.
I remember who it was now. It was Larry Case.
That's who took me.
It wasn't really?
Okay.
Yeah, Larry took me. Yes, sir.
You're kidding.
So I had.
Well, I thought we was part of that gang too, Dan. I'm going to have to talk to him on that.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk to Larry.
So Larry goes to the SHOT Show every year out in Vegas.
And
that is the trade association. I represent the National Shooting Sports Foundation. That's their annual trade show, is the SHOT Show in Vegas. And so somebody hooked Larry and I up when he found out that one of the guys was coming in that had done a lot of target practice and I think had been bird hunting, upland game sort of bird hunting and skeet shooting, but had never chased a wild turkey, never shot a deer. And so one of the guys came in from National Shooting Sports Foundation and we took him, and Larry was kind enough to take us down to southern West Virginia and actually Summers County, Greenbrier County area. And we went down there and went hunting with a dog, and it was fascinating to learn about. It was just, and I came home, instead of getting on Facebook Marketplace and looking for motorcycles or old cheap bass boats, I'm on there trying to figure out who's got a dog around here I can maybe train up. But, it didn't happen, but it was a wonderful experience. But Larry's a great guy.
He sure is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Larry is amazing.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit so we can get through a couple of things here. I'm just looking, one of the other ones that you guys will see a lot of. It doesn't matter really where you live in this country, but it is essentially giving veterans free hunting license or seniors free hunting license. Or I saw one introduced here this year in West Virginia was to give firefighters free hunting licenses. And those are all great. Those are all great professions, and God bless them all for their service. However, we don't want to give it away for free. And the reason we don't want to give it away is because our federal dollars flow back to each respective state based on a formula that sort of takes into account the size of the state, but more importantly, the number of licensed hunters. And so if you give the licenses away for free, they don't count towards that sort of quota, that quotient, if you will, that goes in. It's a multiplier effect to get these federal dollars.
Uh-huh.
So no matter what state you live in, it's important for your respective state to draw down as many federal dollars as possible from the Pittman-Robertson Act.
That's exactly what I was just going to mention.
It's on firearms and ammunition, all that stuff.
So we just need to charge them $1 then.
Well, either charge them $1 or give them a tax credit.
Yeah.
A dollar for dollar tax credit.
Okay.
If you paid $27.50 for your license, the state's going to reimburse you that $27.50 back.
Yeah, I agree.
So that you actually paid into the fund. The fund is used then to match federal dollars to draw down. You count as a license. So it's important to sort of watch. Again, I get the reason to give them away, but if you gave them all away and you reduced your overall hunting dollar or overall hunting licenses, the qualified hunting licenses down. So that was a bill that was introduced, but again,
it got shot down.
It didn't get taken up because of, the folks that understand the federal dollars and the way they flow to states and this formula probably came to them and said, if you're going to do this, do it as a tax credit or do it as a reduction, right? Some sort of reduced amount.
Yep.
But it's got to be, at least and it maybe $1 could work. I don't know, but it's got to be something other than free, because free, it doesn't count.
Yeah, and the Pittman-Robinson Act, that provides funding for all kinds of things: restoration, improvement of wildlife habitat, wildlife management research. That goes out to all kinds of things. It's not just the DNR.
Yep. Another bill that got introduced, which sort of makes for pretty good discussion at Tudor's Biscuit World on Saturday mornings, is whether or not you should allow the big game hunting season, our deer season, West Virginia deer season, to start on the Saturday before the week of Thanksgiving.
Oh, I don't like that.
No.
Before you jump on me, like tag team wrestling here.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
Let me just get it out.
No, you're perfect when you said discussion at Tudor's, because this would be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, that way people can get in the woods. Something another person thought of was to start it the Friday after Thanksgiving. You're already out. The person was talking about school. Look, it's a national holiday in West Virginia.
Yes,
a lot
absolutely.
of public schools are shut down the entire week. Those that used to remain open, saw less than 50% of the kids showing up to school, and it just didn't make sense. So that's sort of a fall break, winter break here in West Virginia. It's part of Thanksgiving, but we just call it deer season. I mean, I tell clients, don't schedule me on that Wednesday. That's deer season in West Virginia. They have been somewhat accommodating. But Ohio is the same way. They wanted theirs opens up the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Wow.
And so the question again in Ohio was, well, what about someone? And in Pennsylvania, it's the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they've always been a week behind us, both states.
And so they're wanting to move that back to Pennsylvania may have moved it at one point, or attempted to move it at one point. I'll actually be in Harrisburg week after next. But there are moves to sort of start them on the weekends, and so all right, I got that out. Y'all can talk about it and argue about it.
No, I'm a traditionalist. It would be very hard for me to get away from knowing that is my thing that I look forward to the whole week before Thanksgiving. Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
Probably,
that Monday's something special.
Oh yeah, probably like the month before Thanksgiving. It probably starts for me around the first part of October. I'm already looking forward to it, and it's just like, I mean, I've always called it my Christmas morning, because I hardly can sleep, and I've been that way since I was a kid.
That's how long it takes you to look forward to it. When I start, the last day of gun season.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm talking, it's
right.
You know what I mean, but it's always on my mind, but it's not heavy until you get into the fall. I told my wife the other day, these temperatures and stuff is getting hotter here in West Virginia, and I'm like, I'm already ready for fall. As soon as winter's done, I'm ready for fall. I don't even want to do spring and summer. So
if you didn't have spring, we wouldn't have turkey hunting.
well, that's true, but we could fit it in there somewhere. Fall turkey hunting.
Here's another one that you may or may not see in your respective states, but not allowing e-bikes to be used for hunting purposes.
Ooh, that's
big.
That is a big one, especially since they're starting to get really big here in West Virginia.
Well, and there's a lot of companies. Mike, you and I saw a bunch when we were all of us saw.
Yep.
Everybody saw them when we were out in St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
$5,000 for a bike.
Yep.
They almost outrun a Prius nowadays with a hybrid or whatever. So anyway, there are folks who just think that those types of things should not be utilized during the hunting season. That someone's gaining an advantage.
Yeah.
And there's one that we kind of always watched here, especially here in West Virginia. And I've got to check with Kentucky. I look at a lot of aerial maps of Kentucky because it's a bordering state, and I graduated from the University of Kentucky, went to high school in West Kentucky, and all that. So I've got I really like the bluegrass state, but here you're not allowed to use ATVs and four-wheelers on public lands, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
You can get a Q stamp and get some, handicap and get into certain gates on National Forest, and that doesn't bother me as long as you're not taking a pack load of people up on top of the mountain and driving or abusing it. But I want to be able to give anybody with a Class Q license an opportunity and afford them whatever we can. But in the state of Kentucky, I see a lot of four wheelers pass. And maybe they're just made at night. I don't know, but
no, I think because I've got some friends in there, and I'm pretty sure you're allowed to ride on those lands.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that. I don't know for certain, but it seems like it from the aerials.
They've got property connected to the Daniel Boone, and there's all kinds of ATV, UTV, side by side, what have you, trails that's legally runnable.
Yeah. So hunting bear over bait, it's illegal in West Virginia.
Yep.
Obviously, you can do that in a lot of states, but in West Virginia, you can't. There was a bill it was introduced to sort of eliminate that. It didn't really go anywhere, but it's just out there, food for thought.
I think that's a good one that could probably get some steam heading forward.
Well, it depends on who you are. If you're the group that responds to sort of the Bear Hunters Association, you're used to doing it, with dogs. You would probably prefer that folks can't hunt over bait, hunt bear over bait. So there's heard a little bit of the debate before.
Yeah, there'd be controversy, like you said, with the dog guys for sure.
Well, and then here. So you guys know this. You guys have a sponsor there. I think it's Longspur. It's the use of dogs, and to be able to track. We finally passed that in West Virginia, where a dog handler can use a leashed dog to track deer. There have been some instances, and these are only anecdotal, where apparently folks are bringing 2 or 3 dogs and they're not necessarily on a leash. They were sort of led to the spot on a leash, and then they were sort of unleashed. And so it's almost like a pack of dogs. And I don't mean that in a derogatory manner. I'm just saying, 2 or 3 dogs are let out on a trail to try to track a wounded deer.
That one's going to be a hard one to enforce if they, when it comes to the leashes, how you going to know? You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, it's an honor system. I mean, it's almost like golf, right? It's a bit of an honor system.
It is.
You got to call it on yourself, and you got to police your buddies and your friends, and you got to make sure that you're associating with people around you that won't sort of tolerate that sort of stuff. But
that's where the Longspur boys come in.
Yeah. Well, when you think about ethical hunting, we want to think of all of our outdoorsmen as ethical, but sometimes you get in a position to where you make a decision not to do that. So I don't know. I mean, it's really a person to person thing, and
Well,
like you say, honor system.
Mike, something people should be doing is, when you put this out, is comment. I mean, ask your listeners, ask your followers on Facebook to sort of comment on these different topics, because to get a little bit of a discussion going on Facebook or wherever. All right, let me tick off a couple more. So obviously, tracking with dogs has also brought up tracking with drones. And in West Virginia, you're not allowed to. And I can tell you, this past fall, Jackson, we're pretty sure it was a clean shot. I mean, a miss. I think he maybe trimmed a little hair off the doe, off the top of the back. The doe dropped, I don't know, 6 feet. I don't mean, I'm just joking, but the deer dropped. And so I had to go, it was at night. We looked at the video, no blood, but we just wanted to be sure. And so we went back the next day. Well, I got a hold of DNR and said, hey, can Jackson use his drone to go through the CRP field to see if, we see this deer? And they said, nope, absolutely not. It's considered harassing wildlife. It's like, okay. I just wanted to be sure. I knew that there was, sort of something out there related to it. But I wanted clarity, and I got it.
Yeah.
And so that's one. And then I want to sort of, in the use of drone, and there's thermal, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing, drone, and then you have sort of a larger version, which is a thermal, or a bigger, more expensive version, which is a thermal. I think in the state of Ohio, you're allowed to use a thermal drone for recovery and stuff. And so, are people going to be allowed to use a drone to hunt with? Again, I'm just throwing these out. I'm not advocating for any of them. I'm just FYI.
Yeah.
Let me jump into a couple more. So there are states who are beginning to ban the use of cameras in the woods, and specifically cell cameras in the woods. And so they're banning them on both public land and private land. They're banning them if they remit or submit a signal back, which is like how they're defining a cell camera. You can't use them from like July 1 to December 31st. I mean, they're sort of taking them out of the whole hunting season. You can't even use them to scout. I'm totally against that. I'll just go on record. I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
We need more people hunting. We need, we've always said here that don't ever let the size of the deer define your success in the field, and we believe that. And
are you there? We lose you?
Did we lose him?
I think we did. Yep, we lost him.
We sure did. Let me try to get him back on here.
Oh, I had some notes here. I can't. That was weird. Just dropped him.
No, that's all right. Yep, we lost you.
We back on? We good?
Yeah, we're back on. So what I was going to say there.
I'm not sure what happened.
You're fine.
I started talking about cell cameras, and my cell phone goes out.
They heard us.
See, they're listening.
That's voodoo, man. That's voodoo.
So what I was going to say while he was off, I didn't get a chance before we brought him back, but these topics that we're talking about, we're going to post these later. So you guys comment on them. You guys can comment on the live. Let us know what you think about these. Let us know your input, your opinion. We want to know those things. We want to get this discussion out there and get it talking about, because, a lot of people don't realize it, but things that happen like this in the background is what, dictates our time in outdoors. And there is a legislative process to it, and everything that we do in the outdoors has something to do with that process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Mike. And again, when we were discussing this, sometimes no news is good news, right? And sometimes not passing legislation is better than passing a bunch of junk legislation. It doesn't matter what state you're in. That holds true. And so in this particular interest, or in this particular instance, I said, Mike, let's talk about the bills that get introduced all around the country that maybe don't get a lot of fanfare because they don't start moving. However, at the end of the day, they could become law because someone put them forth and introduced them, and they're sitting in a committee, and 2 or 3 people may think it's a good idea, but they don't realize the unintended consequences, or they haven't polled their constituents, or somebody had had an issue. You know, they went onto somebody's farm they've hunted on for years and saw a camera and got mad because somebody else was hunting on there, had permission, and they want to ban them. I mean, whatever it is, but that's just one I'll go on record. I think banning game cameras and cell cameras and the ability to get people interested in outdoor and, you know, I mean, I'm in support of those. I'll leave you with one or two more. We talk about farmlands. There is a bill, or there has been bills that have been introduced, and this goes a little deeper into the discussion of just ownership of property, but foreign ownership of American farmlands. Now, when you say that, and you talk about China or Russia or somebody buying up a bunch of farmlands around America, you can get behind that. I mean, that's like, well, maybe they're using that for not so good, right? They don't have good intentions. They're trying to buy them up and sterilize the property or whatever. I mean, again, these are anecdotal stories.
Yeah.
But at the same time, banning foreign ownership of lands means that someone from Canada couldn't own property in Missouri or Kentucky or wherever. And so we've got a lot of friendly nations out there, whether it's, you know, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or whoever. I mean, it's okay to have people come and invest in America. I think it needs to be more directed towards what I'll say are the axis of evil countries, which are your Iran, you know, Russia, China, and North Korea, and any entities associated with them. Those sort of countries should, in fact, not be allowed. If they're on a terrorist list, you know, those countries shouldn't be allowed to. You
might get cut out again there, Jason. We're gonna have to, you know, bring you back.
Yeah, I know. What's that funny feeling I have in my neck? I'm getting drowsy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, so those are just some of the things that we've sort of watched and tracked, not only here in West Virginia, but around the country, and just need to be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
And what that means is that your listeners need to,
engage.
Let discuss it a little bit, but two, make sure they're talking to their respective legislators in each state. So, these are our thoughts on a couple of things out there, right?
Yeah. Let your voice
be
heard.
Drones, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, just make sure you're voicing your opinion.
Definitely, Jason. We sure appreciate you, man. It's always a pleasure having you on. And this is interesting stuff. And like I said, I would like to get the listeners and the people that's going to see this once we post the episode, and once we get it out there on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you know, even at that point, come back and give us your opinions and get a little bit of engagement.
Yeah. I mean, let's let the folks sort of chew on that. That's a lot for tonight. I'll sort of finish up. I'll let you know. Jackson just posted his turkey hunting video. It's actually from last year. We were filming for someone else, so we weren't really allowed. Well, they asked us not to use the film here on Jackson's YouTube channel until they had an opportunity to do some things. And so it's up. It's where he shot the turkey with his bow. It's the first turkey he got with a bow, and he had to, it's the one he had to hold back for 51 seconds, which is just. And thank goodness for those obsession bows with, the forgiveness they have and the valley they have and the let off they have, that he could kind of, hold it back and pull it, just keep it there. And he hammered that turkey. But anyway, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get after it. I was out of town a lot last 2 weeks and traveling, and got back late Friday night from Nashville. And, you get in after drive. I think I drove 1,500 miles and 72 hours, and just sort of wore out from the road. And so I didn't get up, boys. I slept in Saturday morning. I'll just put it out there. It is what it is. But we still went out, and thank goodness for the state of Kentucky where you can hunt all day. We hunted all day and hunted till dark, and we had a good time. Just because we didn't harvest a bird didn't mean we didn't learn some stuff while we were in the field. But hopefully the next 2-3 weeks we'll put something together, and we'll have some more adventures from Jackson's Hunt Next. Appreciate your all support, everybody that follows him and watches him, and just appreciate everyone.
Yes, sir. And we just posted that video to our On the Limb podcast page there on Facebook. So as you're watching this live after we're done, go check that out. But like I said earlier, Jason, we always love having you on. This is a great segment that we get to do, a couple times a year, because, it's once those things go into that process, it takes a while for them to get talked about and get moved around in our governmental system. But we love talking about it, staying up to date, and hopefully this has given people a voice and something to talk about and engage on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Appreciate you guys. I'm sure we'll talk afterwards.
Yes, sir.
Good luck in the field, and good luck to all the turkey hunters out there. And I'll circle back with you guys later.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Jason.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Well, we sure appreciate you listening this evening. Jason is always great to have on. He's just a natural when it comes to talking. I mean, that's what he does. He talks.
Yep.
So when we have him on, our episodes go well and we don't have to edit dead space.
Yeah.
So we always love that. But anyways, be sure to check that video of Jackson with Hunting X on our Facebook page. We just now posted that, so go check that out and give it a share. And be sure to check our episodes out that will air tomorrow morning. So Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. So we appreciate everybody listening tonight, and you all have a good one. Thanks.
This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Trout Routes. Trout Routes is a premier fishing app that strives to empower trout anglers with information to help you go further and discover new waters, new places, and new faces. Check them out at troutroutes.com. Trout Routes is proud to be able to connect you to local resources and experts, such as fly shops, guides, local brands, and nonprofits. Be sure to check them out at troutroutes.com or the Apple App Store and Google Play Store to download the app today.